trust me to be shooting a knitting podcast on the hottest day of the year so far. Anyway, hello everyone, my name is Jonathan and I am a knitter who lives in London. I'm originally from Ireland, in case you couldn't tell from my strange accent. This will be episode 4 of my knitting podcast here on YouTube, and just to start off, I just have to say thank you because I just passed 2,000 subscribers, just about, which is incredible. I've never had that many anything ever in my long internet life and history. So thank you to everyone who subscribed and everyone who's commented. It's shocking and I can't believe it, and I'm just like really grateful that so many people are interested in my little corner of knitting on the internet. So thank you for subscribing. If you haven't and it's your first time, welcome. I am just a guy who likes to knit, and I will say this episode I have a lot of new yarn with me and a lot of plans, so like buckle up for that. I do have some finished objects that I'm going to share, but I did a little personal knitting shop tour of London essentially over the last couple of weeks, so I have some nice stuff from that to talk about. So let's jump into finished objects. First, I've got two. I'll start with the easy one. I'll start with one you've already seen. So these are a pair of, there's two, pair of just plain ribbed socks. I've had these on the needles for a very long time, probably since I actually started making these episodes. It's made out of Garthenor Pentland yarn, and I probably would have mentioned in one of the earlier episodes that I already have a pair of these socks made already, but in a blue colorway, which is Mediterranean. This red colorway is called Sweeny. It's like a marled white and red, so it creates this like marled effect. It's already in the yarn. I can just hold up so you can see. So it's there's no pattern. It's literally a top down sock, 2x2 rib the whole way down the leg and the top of the foot, a slip stitch heel flap and gusset, and then just decrease half the stitches, and then a Kitchener at the end. So it's like the most kind of basic sock you could make that's not a vanilla sock. What I love about this kind of, I would call it a pattern because it's not really a pattern, it's more of a recipe, is that these socks will always fit really, really well because it's made out of ribbing. And I love this yarn and this pattern or recipe because it's a very wearable sock. My blue pair have held up really, really well. I wear them all the time. They're the kind of sock that I know, especially in colder weather or when I'm wearing boots, they'll work out really, really well. So these are the kind of socks that I really make to wear. Oftentimes in knitting, we're making things because we enjoy the process or we enjoy what the final product will look like. But these are just very it's like utility knitting to me. It's kind of like the socks you'd make for the soldiers in the war as we soldier through life. So that's what these are. And I literally finished these last night. When I block them, I won't shape them. Like I won't leave them on the blockers when I do the first soak for them, because it's ribbing and I don't want to kind of stretch out the ribbing. I want the ribbing to stay really elastic. And I also, if you see, I made them slightly different heights. I think there may be about like a 5-row difference, but these are the socks I knit on my lunchtime at work. I'm not really kind of bogged down with how perfect they are. So I think I did like 75 rows on the leg on one and 70 on the other. So it's not, no one will, you won't notice when I'm wearing them, and you probably didn't even notice till I pointed them out. That's a thing that knitters do. Do you notice that? We'll point out the tiny mistake that nobody else will notice, but it'll bother us. You see that? Anyway, these I finished last night because I just wanted to kind of have them off my needles. As much as I enjoyed having I always have a sock on the needles, I feel like these were on for so long, I just needed to get them done. So yesterday I literally did the entire foot of the second sock and the toe, everything except the Kitchener stitch, because it was like past midnight and I was like, I don't want to mess up Kitchener stitch when I'm tired, so I left that for the morning. But yeah, really, really happy with these. I will get lots of wear out of them. I've got more Pentland wool from Garthenor to kind of make similar socks, as like, you know, as I said, for utility. But because I have kind of more sock plans and I've gotten more sock yarn that I kind of want to make them kind of prettier, kind of cooler socks, I wanted to get these off the needle so that I can enjoy my the next sock adventure that I have. So that's these. Super happy with them. I was just about to go super happy, thank you so much, but that doesn't make any sense. Moving on. So next object, finished object, has a bit of a story behind it. If you watched my last episode, you would have seen that I was working on a shawl, which was lace and brioche, which kind of like didn't work out super well. And thank you to everyone who commented with tips. First of all, the main one, which I didn't mention in the episode the last time, was putting in a lifeline between like sections of lace, which like, of course, like, why didn't I do that? I don't know. And everyone who commented, thank you so much, because you're so right. I think I was just like cocky in my brioche ability that I didn't put in a lifeline, but you know, these are the lessons that we learn. And then someone else commented that they believe there might be an error in the pattern in the magazine that I got that shawl from. So I'm actually going to wait and see. I haven't frogged it. Well, I need to frog it. I haven't actually physically frogged it yet, but I need to kind of, I might wait to see if the errata for that issue comes out, to see if there is a mistake in the pattern, because it might not be me. So after that kind of whole thing, I've kind of felt, you know, my other project is, which I haven't done any work on, is like a color work project. And I just felt like there were so many projects that I'd done that had required so much like mental focus. And it wasn't that I was getting frustrated, it was just I was kind of like losing my like knitting mojo or kind of knitting rhythm, because I was just kind of not failing at things, because it's not failing, but it just felt like I needed a win when it came to knitting, or just like a project that I really, really was dying to work on and I couldn't wait to work on. So that leads me to this finished object. I'm going to pull it out, and some of you, if you have me on Ravelry, you would have seen, and I think I did post the yarn itself on Instagram, so if you follow me there you would have seen that, but this is the first time I probably am, well, this is the first time I want to show the full thing. So here we go. This is, let me talk over it. This is the Moonwhistle by Anrdrea Mowry. It's so big that I'm not able to fit it all in, but we'll do our best. So, bear in mind it's 30 degrees in London right now, but I will put it on. So I am obsessed with this pattern, I'm obsessed with the yarn, and I'm obsessed with the like finished object like so much. So let's run down through it. So yarn, you'll want to know. So yarn is the striped section is West Yorkshire Spinners the Croft in the colours Lerwick and Melby. So the grey is Lerwick, and the orange is Melby. And then, there's an end I forgot to snip off. And then in the pattern it's called Tweed section, which is the grey as well, the West Yorkshire Spinners grey. And then the colour changing is Spincycle, let me make sure I get it right, Spincycle Dream State in the colour Castaway. So if you'll remember, a couple of episodes back, I got some Spincycle from Loop, and that was dyed in the wool, which I believe is like a fingering weight. And then this Dream State is it's thicker. I think it's closer to worsted or like sport or DK kind of weight. It's a thicker weight anyway than what I'd had. And basically after the shawl and all that stuff, I just wanted, as I said, something like that I was really excited about, and that I was would have been like easy construction. And so I just went crazy one night, ordered the Spincycle, and I ordered the Croft, and like as soon as it arrived I cast on, and I just like have just loved it. It's an amazing like beginner shawl, because it's very simple construction. You're only really increasing on one side, you can see, because it's kind of like a straight side, and it's all mostly garter and slipping stitches on occasion, and it's just absolutely amazing. You can see the color change in the Spincycle. Let me take it closer. So yeah, so it's like the Spincycle itself like inspired the striped section, because the Spincycle has the blues, which goes into a grey, which goes into an orange, and then back into the grey and the blue. So you can see how it changes. So that's why I did the stripes in the grey and the blue. And you know, it is absolutely the wrong kind of weather for a shawl like this, but I just can't, like, I'm absolutely in love with it. I can't wait to wear it in when it gets a bit cooler, but I feel like it's kind of like the perfect scarf for having like on the couch in the evening. You know, you can just kind of throw it over you when you're watching a movie or something like that. And Anrdrea Mowry, she's Drea Renee Knits. She also has every Friday she's answering questions on YouTube, and I just that's kind of how I came across this pattern, and I just really like vibe with her and her energy and her enthusiasm and her talent and creativity. And yeah, so I just like, I think I finished this in maybe 2.5 weeks, and I just loved it. It was just what I needed to kind of get my mojo back. Not that my mojo was gone, but just something that I could just really knit and enjoy the craft that I enjoy so much. And the colors were so inspiring and so beautiful, and I don't have anything else like this. It's the Croft yarns are it's like an Aran worsted weight, so it's like a really thick, like chunky, warm shawl, and I just can't get enough of it down here now. But yeah, I hope you guys like it. I'm just obsessed with it. It's like, I feel like it's like classic Anrdrea Mowry style. She definitely has like a very iconic kind of style. Like you can kind of tell when it's a pattern by her. And I actually like the wrong side of the work as well. It's quite cool. So yeah, so that is the Moonwhistle by Anrdrea Mowry. And I don't know how you guys are, but I am like what would I say? I would say like I overbuy yarn because I would dread running out of yarn. Some people kind of underbuy or kind of like to pay yarn chicken. So I have like an entire skein of the grey and I think the orange left, and almost a full skein of the Spincycle as well. I only used a small bit towards the end. So I'm thinking I might do the Flicker and Flame, I believe it is. It's a hat by Anrdrea Mowry as well, that uses the same kind of combo of yarn weights, like a Spincycle, to do kind of colour work. So I think I'll do that, so that I have, I mean, I wouldn't wear them together, but I would have a matching hat and shawl. So that's the plan with that. And yeah, I'm super, super happy with it. I love the colour so much. I like blue and orange together. I think they look so great. And yeah. Let me know what you guys think. If you're a beginner and you want to do a shawl, this is a really good one because it uses big needles, big yarn, so it moves quite quickly and it helps you construct it. And yeah, can you tell I'm loving it? Because all I can do is just like wear it over and over again. So yeah, so that's kind of what I've spent all my knitting time on recently. My only other work in progress is a snowfield cowl, which you would have seen in previous episodes, but I've only done maybe 4 or 5 rows in it, so it's really not in any sort of progress worth sharing with you guys. But I am now ready to like cast on a bunch of new projects, and dive into like more fun things, which I will get to in a second. Because of that, I don't really have any works in progress. Like, I literally was kitchenering the toes of those socks today, and so now I just need to cast on a lot. So as soon as this episode is done, I will be casting on things, which I will tell you about momentarily. But before I tell you about the future plans and what I got up to with the local yarn shops of London, I wanted to shout out a new, a new to me, knitting magazine that I came across recently called Making Stories. You might have heard of them. It is made by two wonderful people. One based in Berlin, I believe, and the other based in Canada, if I'm incorrect. And it is a beautiful magazine with a focus on kind of, like it's like a standard knitting magazine with articles and patterns, but it has a focus on like sustainability, and things like that, which is something that's quite not important to me. It is important to me, but it is something that I kind of do my best to focus on when I'm knitting. I try to focus on yarns and creators that are sustainable, organic as best as they can, because I feel like knitting is one of the ultimate slow fashion projects, or that you can kind of, or skills that you can undertake. And so I kind of want to make sure that everything I make can, like, you know, Lion King, move into the circle of life, and, you know, when I'm long gone, can decompose and go back into the earth and be as natural as it can be. So it is a really, really nice magazine. I have the latest issue, which is spring 2021, which is issue 5. There are some beautiful patterns in here. I will say, for me, there's not a lot. There's maybe one or two things that I would knit in this for myself. There's some things, other things in it that I would knit for other people in my life, but it's not, you know, as someone who dresses more masculinely, this specific issue I think had a lot more like feminine looks in it, which is absolutely fine, but I still really, really enjoyed it. Enjoyed reading it, enjoyed the quality, the photography, the color palette, all those kinds of things were absolutely amazing. And there's two things that this magazine does that are absolutely amazing. And I don't know how many of you have knit for magazines, but this one, I'll show you. See this? See what this is here? First of all, there's one on each side of the magazine. It's like almost like a dust cover from a book. And I don't know about you, but like if you are, you know, knitting a pattern from a magazine, and you're constantly like putting down and taking up your project, and you have to open and close the magazine itself, having this little flip cover here so that you can keep your place is absolutely amazing. And I don't know if they did that intentionally. I'm sure they must have, but it's like it's a small detail that to me makes a huge difference to like the usability of the magazine. You know, it's not something you kind of just read and put down. It's something you're picking up and putting down over and over again. And the other thing they put in on the back flap is a ruler. It's so clever. It's so clever. And it's just a small detail that like I really, really liked. Definitely look them up, check out the magazine. The next issue will be out before we know it. I think it will be, I think it's twice a year. So I'm guessing the next one will be autumn. But it's absolutely fabulous, and they have a YouTube channel and a podcast, and with interviews and things like that, and I would highly, highly recommend. Really, really liked it. So yeah, huge shout out to the Making Stories crew. And so, moving on to my knitting plans / my mini tour of the yarn shops of London. So I mentioned in my last episode that my boyfriend was going away for 3 weeks. He's back this coming week, but it meant I had almost 3 weeks alone in London, and so I took the opportunity to jump on my bike and visit some of the yarn shops I'd never visited before in London, and say hello to the people who work there, and pick up some yarn and bits along the way. So I wanted to keep through everything that I've found and the people I met. So let's start with last weekend, where I went to two knitting shops in East London. The first shop I went to was called Knit with Attitude, which, similar to Making Stories, I do believe they have a kind of a wide selection of yarns that do kind of focus on the more kind of sustainable, natural yarns, which was, fabulous and great. When I went there, I met a lovely woman by the name of Susan who was working there. She was working on an amazing test knit, and we were chatting. Super nice. Every shop I went to, I met like super nice, friendly people. I think it's kind of the standard in knitting shops to just meet like super nice people who are like passionate about what they do. And I cycled. I have a little folding bike, and every shop they were happy to kind of look after my bike in the corner behind the desk. So I really did appreciate that. But there I picked up a small few things. Let me see. Yes. So there I picked up, this is Hillesvag, and I only kind of vaguely know how to pronounce that because of Inga from Knitting Traditions. And this is, it's Solje yarn. So this is what I got. And it is a fingering weight yarn, and the colours are 2115 and 2118. So the grey on top is 2115, and the green on bottom is 2118. And I got this because I wanted to try some Norwegian yarn. It would be my first time trying Norwegian yarn, and I thought this colour was very, very Knitting Traditions. If you follow, I would watch that amazing podcast with Inga. And speaking of Inga, I was just like, ooh, let me get this, and maybe I will make one of her cowls. She has quite a few cowl patterns, and like the Selbu cowl and stuff like that. So I think what's a more perfect pattern to make than like an earthy toned cowl by a Norwegian knitter in Norwegian wool. So that's what I picked up from there, Knit with Attitude. It's like a super small store. I really enjoyed visiting there, and it's not incredibly far away from me, so I definitely can see myself going there again. But that's what I picked up there. Did I mention the weight? It's fingering. It's super rustic, which doesn't bother me at all. I like the rustic ones, and yeah, I can't wait to. It's all in what I'm assuming is Norwegian, so I can't really read any. I can't even pronounce it for you, but that's it. Super cool. I like it a lot. Yeah, and these are very like standard. My colors, grays and greens and things like that. So I think that'll be another cowl, probably a few months down the line before I give that one a go. Next, okay, and then I went to Knit with Attitude first, and then I got on my bike and cycled like maybe 10 minutes, like less than 10 minutes, it wasn't too far away, was Wild and Woolly, which is another East London knitting shop. And this shop is just amazing and fabulous, and I really, really enjoyed my time there. I must have been there 45 minutes, maybe an hour, chatting. There I met the lovely Bronte, and we chatted for a long time. She taught me through like a bunch of the wool and yarn that they had there, stuff that was interesting to her. We talked about knit nights coming up, like kind of just everything you can think of under the sun. And it was one of those things where, I noticed that like people were coming in and out, and yet I was still there. So I picked up a few things there as well. For these two shops, like I didn't really have any patterns in mind when I went there. I was just kind of more wanting to visit the store and see what took my fancy and what was inspiring. And so in Wild and Woolly, I picked up two skeins of Mondim, which is Portuguese yarn. Let me see. This is definitely fingering. It's all in Portuguese. Oh yeah, Mondim is non-superwash sock weight yarn made from fine Portuguese wool. So the two I got, this is color 103. Let me see if I can hold that up. And then this one, which is super cool, is 202. And I have no idea how this will knit up, but I just thought it was really cool. The colors were so cool, and so I think this might be another like rib sock or kind of a vanilla sock to kind of show off the colors. And then this one will be probably hatching socks by the New York Year, which is Emma. She's in New York, and she is works in the art world, art historian. I did art history in university as well, so I like really connect with her on that. I follow her on Instagram, and she has amazing sock patterns that are usually inspired by like architectural forms, and so I really want to try one of her patterns, and I thought this would be really, really beautiful with one of her patterns. So I think, not sure exactly which one. She has this Strozzi socks as well, and I like them too. So something, I feel like this yarn would definitely show off kind of like the almost sculptural stitch patterns and shapes that she creates on her socks. So that was the Mondim that I got. And then the other thing I got there was some yarn that Bronte hadn't used herself, but it was something that she was like interested in trying, and it stood out to me because it's Irish. It's Studio Donegal yarn. It's 100% lamb's wool, and it is, here's one of them I got, which is 8813, which is obviously it's blank. It's probably undyed wool. And this one, oh yeah, it's Darnie, that's what it's called, and it's fingering 4-ply weight. And it was funny because we were talking in the shop and we kind of talking about patterns, and so I mentioned Stephen West because I haven't done a Stephen West design in a little while, and so I talked about a pattern I really wanted to do by him, like, oh yeah, there was that pattern like chevrons, and we were looking it up together on her laptop, and I was on my phone, and then I was like, oh yeah, woven chevrons, and she's like, oh yeah, I wanted to make that too. So we looked up like the weights and picked out colors there, and so these are the 4 colors I've gotten this of this Studio Donegal. I'm gonna hold it up and hopefully we can get some nice view of the colors. I'm gonna see if I can get, this one's coming up quite dark. Yeah, it's coming up quite dark, but this is quite a navy color, and they're all kind of tweedy. Is maybe if I pop the white out, you'd be able to see. There we go, that's a little bit better. So the colors are all numbers, not very interesting, but this is 8813. This is 8812, which is the kind of beige color. And this is 8808. It's like turquoise blue, sea blue, like almost like sea glass. And then the navy is 8809, which you really can't, it's not coming out like it's almost black, but it's not black. It is a dark navy. And I'll stick a photo in that might show them off a bit better. But yeah, but I'm like obsessed with this color palette, and it's going to be the woven chevrons pattern by Stephen West, which is like a super like sculptural shawl, and I'm like dying to cast it on. So these are the 4 colors I got for that. And it was funny because Bronte like also wanted to make it, and she's like went home that evening. We followed each other on Instagram. She went home that evening and like went through her stash to like do the pattern as well. So we might end up doing like seeing each other in a few months and like comparing, who knows. But regardless, my visit to Wild and Woolly was absolutely amazing. It's not too far away from me, again, East London. It's not 100 miles away, so I definitely will be back there again to meet more of the team and just like hang out in their absolutely beautiful shop. Okay. Ooh. Okay, I'm still not done. So that was last week. Last weekend I went to those two stores, and this week I had finished that shawl and I had just very close to finishing the socks. So I was like, okay, it's time to like go through my queue, pick out what I want to do next. And so I knew that there was a shop in London that carried yarn I wanted for the number one thing on my queue, which is the Beauceron jumper by Designs by Dells. Vincent, he is the other half of Les Garçons. So if you've watched my other episodes, I've done loads to Max the Knitter Designs, and his partner is Vincent, who also designs, and he also dyes yarn. And so I want to do the Beauceron, and so I wanted to go get some yarn for that. So yesterday I got on my bike. It was nearly 30 degrees Celsius yesterday, and it is today, and the yarn shop I went to is in Richmond, which was about an hour cycle from where I live, but I didn't care. I wanted to go on the hottest day of the year to buy wool, because that's who I am. And so I went to Tribe Yarns, and let me tell you, it was really worth the cycle. The team there is like so nice, so wonderful, like immediately helpful. The shop is beautiful. It's got like super high ceilings and a spiral staircase, and seating outside, which you could have like sat outside and knit, and huge selection. Yeah, I had a great time there as well. Really enjoyed meeting the team, chatting about projects, chatting about what I'd finished, all that kind of stuff. Everything I'm chatting with you right now, I spoke with them as well. So what did I get? So there I got the yarn for the Beauceron sweater. Let me find a prettier skein to show. So originally I wanted a bluer color than what I ended up getting, which is more of a green color, but I'm still happy with the choices I got. So the Beauceron sweater is in DK weight, so I got if you've been watching, you know I really love Garthenor, so I got their beacons, which is their DK weight, and they're both, let me see, this is the color Holly. I'm going to put in a picture because I feel like it's coming up really dark. Let me get my face out of it. You can kind of see the green there. It's like a dark green. This is 75% Polworth, 15% Romney, 10% Hebridean. And this is the color Marble, which is actually marled. You can kind of see. So it's marled like my socks, I believe. It's like a very light grey with almost like white wool. So this is 75% Polworth, 22% Romney, 3% Romney. I'm guessing it's different shades of Romney. Ooh, the sun has come out a bit more. Maybe I can get better Holly color for you. I'm going to take a photo and try and like get the color to be more natural. But if you know the Beauceron, it's got like a yoke that's like, it's not color work. I think it's like slip stitch mosaic kind of knitting. And so this is going to be this is the main color, and this is the contrast color. So this will be kind of what you'll see on top, and then the bottom section is going to be this color. So it's these two together and then this color alone. And yeah, so I'm super excited about it. It's still looking black. I'll put in the picture. But I'm really happy with these color choices. I think they're going to look really cool together and really different. So I'm really, really excited about those. And then I got more beacons because this color has been speaking to me for quite a while. And this is the color Tilia. It's more beacons. And it's like isn't this color so cool? It's like an acid green, like yellow color, and I think it's so funky. So this, I'm going to make a hatch hat. I've made it before. It's a Brooklyn tweed jarred flood pattern, and I've made one before and I wear it all the time, but I just think this will be a really nice hat, so I'm really excited about that. It's a bit further away in my plans. Ooh. But yeah, I just loved the colour and I just had to have it. And even Chloe, who I was speaking to in the shop, she was like, ooh, even this colour is quite cool with that. So if I have some left over, I'm going to maybe trim the hat in it, or yeah, they all just like played together. So that colour family was definitely speaking to me. But what I will say is that as soon as this episode is done, these are getting wound up and the swatch is happening, and it's so hot in London right now, my swatch will dry so fast. So hopefully I get gauge and everything's okay, because I got like the exact amount of yarn that I needed for the jumper, so we'll see. And then last but not least, this is one more thing that I got. This is Konkon Bleu. I know very little about it. The colours just spoke to me. Yeah, and that's it. I think that is something you need to allow yourself when you go to your local yarn shop, because sometimes colours just speak to you and you need to have it. And I feel like this, in the last few weeks, I've really kind of understood that I need to let what inspires me and what really brings me joy be what I knit, because otherwise it just becomes a chore, and I don't ever want knitting to be a chore. I always want it to be a refuge. So yeah, so that's the last thing I got. This, I think I have 52 Weeks of Socks, that book, and I've got like a bunch of them bookmarked, and I just need to start like making some patterns from it rather than just buying patterns, because I'm really want to do my best to, like, I love getting knitting magazines and knitting books, and I need to make the patterns from them. Like, what's the point in having these beautiful, they're not meant to be adornments in my home, in my small home. They're meant to be used. So I have a couple of sock patterns from 52 Weeks of Socks, and I think this is going to be one of them. I know nothing about it. It's just inspired me. So that's why I got it. And that was Tribe Yarns. I probably won't go there as often as I would go to, say, Beautiful Knitters and the East London shops, because they're just physically so much closer to me. But it's definitely worth the trip if you're in London to go, and it's in a beautiful part of London, and on a sunny day like yesterday, it was a real treat to go there and see all that. So I think that's enough. What do you think? Do you think I've gotten enough to keep me going for quite a while? So yeah, my plans for today, which is a Sunday for me, it's one of my last days before my boyfriend comes back next week, and so I'm going to be casting on probably some vanilla socks, because there's some sock wool that I want to like finish off and get rid of, and I want to try the shadow wrap heel on that. So that's probably what I will cast on today. And the other thing I'm going to do is the swatch for my Beau Run and get those in. And yeah, that's what I've got going right now. I might cast on the Stephen West shawl as well, I'm not sure, but mainly today is going to be a lot of winding of yarn and some swatching and all that good stuff. So yeah, so that's been my last 3 weeks. I hope that has been fun and interesting and exciting for you, and we're all excited about what the future holds. I'm also getting... Oh no, that's it. I think there's nothing else coming. I'm going to take a break and use what I have and get through what I have. Was it the last episode I talked about moths? Possibly. Regardless, everything's in Ziploc bags right now. That's what I've gone with. So all of this that I've just shown you came out of Ziploc bags, and it's about to go back into Ziploc bags just to keep everything safe while it's been out. And then finally, I wanted to talk to you guys because we've reached 2,000 subscribers. I know oftentimes people have giveaways on Knitting Podcasts when they reach certain milestones, which are all, they're great and wonderful, but I kind of feel like they reward one person rather than rewarding everyone. So for me, the thing that I've been toying with, as I mentioned last episode, is like a newsletter and like a blog. Like I'd love to send out, put together a newsletter for people who are interested, like call it Work in Progress Wednesday, and every Wednesday you get like a little newsletter on like how things are going, what I'm up to, maybe like an in-depth yarn review, yarn shop reviews. There's also some other interests of mine that I feel are very complementary to knitting. Like I'm a big coffee drinker and coffee shop frequenter, so I might do reviews maybe of like great places to sit and knit. Who knows? Let me know what you guys think. If I was going to, invest in my time and energy and a little bit of money in making a website and a newsletter, I feel like that's something that I would like to, rather than spending money on a giveaway prize for one person, I'd rather do something that everyone can enjoy and everyone can access. But let me know what you think. If you're just like, just focus on the podcast, you're doing great, sweetie, that's fine too. But if it would interest you, I would be willing to do it. I do this because I really enjoy it and I enjoy sharing and I love the comments and the interactions that we have. And so if I can take that a step forward with, a blog and writing and sharing in that way, I'm definitely up for that too. So let me know what you think. Also, let me know what you're knitting on. What themes were there the last week? I know the ranunculuses were big before, but I don't think there was any theme going on in the comments recently. Is anyone doing summer knitting? I feel like, if my worsted weight shawl is anything to go by, I think I don't really. This is my first time knitting through a summer, and I don't think I care how hot it is. I think I'm just happy to knit. I think socks during the day, and then at night you can do the bigger projects that are like sweating on your legs. But as always, let me know what you're working on, and thank you for liking, for commenting, for subscribing. It really fills me with joy, and I love the community we're creating here. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in about 3 weeks' time. Please stay safe, look after yourself, and I hope you are all keeping really well and that you are safe in your body. Take care. Bye.